Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our TGIF and Product Owner episode this week with Patty Aluskewicz. Hey Patty, welcome back.
Hello. I'm going to be very cliche and say Happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed. We call this the TGIF episode for a reason. Yes. Patty, we talked product owners on Friday. It's end of the week. We're kind of celebrating the fact that we did survive 4 and some odd hours, 4 days and some odd hours of work and life in general. And we're getting close to a time of reflection, but also relaxation. And it's good to think about, these higher level concepts like the product owner, which is a very simple term, but a very difficult role. So let's dive into that. And in this relaxed atmosphere, because it is Friday after all, and we'll talk about a great product owner in a minute, but share with us what might have been potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career.
The worst. Well, let me start by saying this, that as I mentioned in the first episode, for 8 years was a business owner of a small business. So I have played the product owner role myself. So I have empathy and experience with that role, that accountability. And I think that really goes a long way. I understand what it's like to be in their shoes. So the challenges that they face, I've been there. So when I work with them, I can speak to that. And I build trust with them in that way. I also have my CSPO. I want to make sure that, not that the certification counts, but I want to make sure that I have all of the information that I need, right? So academic and experience. There are so many anti-patterns that can happen in a team, and I hate to single product owners, but this is the episode, so let's talk about it. One of the unique things about the product owner role is that there's an option to sit within the team or sit external to the team, and then I think there's one where it's kind of in the middle. And each choice that a company makes creates different anti-patterns and challenges. The one that I want to chat about today is when the product owners are external to the team, they line up to the business, they have a different reporting structure than everybody else on the team. What I've noticed is creates, in my mind, because I'm visual, a huge wall between the business and product owners and the team. And it's something that when I go in and I, do my observations and I do my interviews, I can see very clearly, and I also hear very clearly in what people tell me. It creates a very us versus them mentality. You have the team, which is the majority of the people are the product owners, those people over there, they're doing this, they're causing all the problems. And I see that as a challenge for me to help pull down that wall or chip away at it as best as I can. And to me, like I mentioned about the product problem-solving canvas, pulling the product owners into all of these problem-solving meetings that the team is having. We want to make sure that everybody talks about their perspectives and they solve the problem together.
So what you're saying is that you want to make sure that the product owner is involved when discussing the challenges that the team is facing.
Correct. And not listening to the us versus them, not taking the side of the team, because it's very loud. Because I said there's this majority of people that are saying the product owners are causing all the problems. I have to maintain neutrality. I have to realize that it's a collective problem and everybody's contributing to it, whether they realize it or not. And pulling everybody into the same room helps them understand or own the fact that they are all contributing to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point because it's very, as you said, the voice of the team is very loud and we're in the team every single day, listening to them every single day. And if a product owner happens to be external, we might not be exposed to their perspective at all and therefore not be able to bring it to the team as well. So I think that's a great call out for us.
Yeah. And
of course, there's not only bad anti-patterns, there's also great patterns and even great people in the product owner role. So, Patty, regarding that, in your experience, what was the best product owner you've ever worked with and how did they work?
Yeah. I think that it's very similar to what I feel is important for an Agile coach or a Scrum Master. Having courage, having empathy, and the key is listening. So the product owners really listening, building relationships, empathizing with the developers and the testers. That I've seen that worked so well because again, it pulls down that wall of almost like product owners acting like a project manager, like this is what you need to build, this is how you need to build it, assigning out the tasks to everybody. When the product owners can come in and again, have a conversation with the developers and testers and listen and have their perspective and allow the developers and testers to take ownership of the how, it really helps the team mature and advance and get the product out faster.
Absolutely. And it's really important to understand how we can, as Scrum Masters, kind of create the environment for that to happen. So in your experience, what have you learned about your work as an Agile coach and Scrum Master that helps product owners take up that role of being empathic, listening, being part of the team in the end?
Yes. It's understanding that I'm not just like a team coach, but I'm also an individual coach. So again, understanding what the product owners deal with, empathizing with them so that when I do have conversations with them, I can speak from and ask questions from that experience. But also on the flip side of that, when I hear developers or testers or test leads or, tech leads complaining about the product owner saying, well, have you had a conversation with them? Do you know what they deal with on a daily basis? Do you know what their pressures are? And I say those things, it sounds very simple, but I can't tell you the number of times where people have said, no, I don't know what they deal with all day.
And it's so simple, but sometimes just so easy to forget as well, right?
Right. They've never had, because everybody is so focused on getting the task done, so to speak, they never build the relationships because that's seen as secondary or not there at all, right? We don't need to do that. That's fluff. But again, getting everybody to understand each other helps them work better together.
Yeah, and when the POs are also helping with that, it becomes so much better because it kind of amplifies what we are also trying to bring to the team.
Correct.
That's a great story. And of course, this empathy, this understanding the other people's perspectives is something that requires a lot of practice. And maybe people want to ask you a few more questions about it. So, Patty, we're getting close to the end. But before we go, where can people find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, so Patty Aluskewicz. Also, I have a website, agilemindsetconsulting.com, so they can find a little bit more about me there.
Absolutely. We'll put the link to those on the show notes, make sure that people find them easily. Patty, thank you very much for being with us and for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts, as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. So join us at scrummasterpodcast.com and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more full week of Scrum Master tips, and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.